Crypto markets feel the pump as the FOMC gets ready to drop on the larger markets in general on Wednesday, and we're going to look into the future of AI. Is robotic going to take your job? All this and more. Blockchain Basement.
Bum, 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 bum. You ready for this? I'm ready. Welcome.
If you're gonna screw me, at least pull my hair.
Hell yeah. What you got?
They could start chopping off fingers. They're like, give me your seed phrase, but I don't know it.
Out to give the numbers out. And I was like, no, hang up the phone right now.
Or like when it dropped in 2020, was it like exciting?
400,000 to 600,000. The generational signals are now
Level. So I don't even know if we're gonna get back below there. But if we do, that's kind of where we.
These are all the best people. All the best people come to the basement. Welcome one, welcome all to the Blockchain Basement. Kelly, looking extra fly today. Pretty fly for a white guy. How you doing?
doing good. Started the almost daily Discord private BitLab members.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah. Earlier, I had Ducey was in there. Had several other people in there. But I'm here to talk about the markets. We got a lot of stuff going on.
Me and you were chatting about it, having a very serious talk about where the markets are at right now. So I'm looking forward to riffing with you on that. BJ, how was the weekend? How you feeling?
It's wunderbar.
Wunderbar?
Just wunderbar.
Okay. Yep. Did you go to Germany?
Nicked.
Okay. Hannah, how you feeling? It's Monday.
9. Happy Monday.
We're back
We're
at
back,
9.
baby.
Sorry, wrong. I did Russian accidentally.
It's
Terrible.
9 Danka. No, thank you. Yeah, spooky day tomorrow.
Yes.
End
I had
of
an
October.
awesome time going to fall festivals out here in North Georgia. Has the absolutely most wonderful community. We went to multiple kind of pumpkin festivals, Halloween festivals, just good vibes all around. My kids had an absolute blast. It was a very wholesome weekend outside of a major accident that I caused for myself. I blew my arm out of its socket. I dislocated my shoulder in the parking lot of a Home Depot going 20 miles an hour on a shopping cart. So that didn't feel great, but appreciate you all showing up. Meanless, Shake and Bake, C90FTW.
Who laughed
Nicole
at you the
Minnis.
most? Your daughter?
My wife, actually,
okay.
yeah. She was the one who saved me. So I came back and I was like, there is something seriously wrong. And, because it popped up real quick after the fall, but then I realized my arm was hanging like a half a foot lower than it should. So we, convened, took her about a minute and a half. I relaxed everything and kind of pushed it in and popped right back into place. So
You didn't do it like Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon where he
No.
slammed his arm
Dude,
up.
that is not the way. That is not the way, man. That is not the way. Yeah. You have to relax everything and kind of, just let your arm get kind of pulled back in a position. So it was an interesting experience, but in general, I kept a smile on my face because the markets are absolutely pumping. I'll pull up my particular portfolio here because I am selfish that way. In general, the best thing out of my portfolio today is XRP, but if you go on the week, Internet Computer Token, really having quite a fun move. And one of the most exciting things for me is seeing Chainlink hold above this $11 mark, even for, my God, if it holds on to this 11 mark and is able to build up from here, I am looking hot. But ICP is kind of a risky biscuit move that I allocated last week. Let everyone know on Twitter the moment I did it because I just felt so at risk. But ICP has been well to me over the past year. I'll kind of show you what my process is. So I got in, in this chop zone and that chop zone, got out at these peaks, and then I re-entered right at around $3.30, so just on the way back up out of this little half pipe here. It's been going well, gotta say, been going well. I know a lot of people FUD ICP for this or that or the other reason. I like to take risks on crypto projects that are aiming for the moon, and I definitely feel like ICP is doing that. So it's going well. But, obviously Solana's been crushing it. The larger markets are really having some fun. This is actually a DeSci pick. I think Joshua Jake had brought up a while back, last time he was here. Let's see what this one looks like. Genomes down.
He brought this up also on the interview we did that we released Saturday.
Did he really?
He was talking about, I asked him about a niche that he may be watching into this next cycle, and he was talking about DeSci, what do you call it?
Yeah, DeSci. Yeah.
Decentralized science plays.
Yeah, and look at what happened here. I mean, this is the monthly on it. Not looking too bad at all. I am watching those DeSci projects within my general watch list, not part of my portfolio, but my God, seeing this liveliness about it, definitely going to have to take those DeSci picks a little bit more seriously. Genomes DAO and then Thorchain absolutely ripping. So in general, man, like I know a lot of people, I'm glad you brought this up this morning, Kelly. So like we're at this 34.5 mark. We have really strong resistance at I think like was it 35 and 35.2? Where's the particular resistance at?
It's right in there, yeah, 35,
yeah, so like
or something.
We're looking for this. We're looking for, I mean, it's been a very explosive last few, we're just the last week in Bitcoin only. If you look at the 7-day on Bitcoin, it is on an absolute shelf. Check this out. Absolutely came out of nowhere from the top ropes. No chill. I know a lot of people are talking about this. So the question is this a BART playing out, right? Is it going to keep ranging on this shelf until it eventually breaks down? Or, is this that kind of building point for its next leg up? That's the question, Kelly. I mean, what do you think, Kelly? Like, just, I know you did some TA this morning, but, what do you think the markets are going to do? Are we going to retrace back down to that 30K, 31K level before moving on up and have, more of like a kind of staggered build up from here? Or is this kind of what you said this morning where it's like max pain because it's already starting? Like, what do you feel?
I mean, I feel like the markets are getting to the point right now where they're starting to get irrational.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't rule out a move up. And I think once we break that 35.2, 35.3 area, I think it'll probably be a pretty quick move up past 36, up into the 38K territory. But I do think that as exciting as it was that we moved up so quickly, that's what's known as an inefficient move,
right?
Because the price just essentially transported. There was a lot of forced liquidations. I forget the number. I think it was like $400 or $620 million in liquidations or something. So there's a lot of there would be interest in price coming back and basically doing work through that range down to 31.5, 32,000, and then bouncing from there. That would ultimately, as bizarre as it sounds, everybody thinks up is bullish. The most bullish thing that could happen is if we did pull back and the bulls didn't lose their conviction. They come in as buyers at 32, give a strong buy, flush out that inefficiency, and then continue its path higher throughout November.
It's like setting support floors.
Yeah.
So it's like if you keep going up, like nothing's going to catch you on the way down versus you go up, make a support floor, go up, make a support floor.
You want to build the stairs.
Better.
Yep, absolutely. It just makes for a healthier move. We see more violence on the way back down if you have no chill on it. This is where we're at right now on the yearly for Bitcoin. Just to give some context of what Kelly's talking about, 32 would be, that would be a really strong place to come back down and build a floor right now. This has been one hell of an upswing that caught a lot of people off guard. Honestly, I know I took basically what I've been doing is insulating myself from altcoins up until right about a month and a half ago. Then full send on Chainlink, ICP last week. It's been going well so far, but we very well could retrace. But in that mindset, I have a good a few $1,000s in the bleachers ready to go in case we do get a nice dip down and entry point. And other than that, I'll just be DCAing into my favorite stuff as we find them. And we do have a pretty important week coming up for the markets in general. I know that we have the FOMC coming up this week. I'll show you here real quick. So this is from Satoshi Flipper. Calling out FOMC is on Wednesday. New jobs report is coming out on Friday with non-farm payroll. And then there's obviously within these time frames, we've had a good amount of volatility, but the volatility I feel like has gone down more and more as the markets just brace for more pain. And I think things have been pretty normalized. I found this interesting just in regards to everything. This is what gets me the most worked up, or my biggest reasoning for finding cryptocurrency is the losses that banks are currently holding right now. Actually, held to maturity assets have now soared to an actual all-time high of $400 billion. And this graph is just showing the overall. So available for sale is the unrealized portion of these losses. Held to maturity is the stuff they had to give up and basically take the L on. That has hit an all-time high of $400 billion. Now, the thing I want to note here, you guys, is that this lead up of these losses was the banking crisis of March 23. This is where they introduced BTFP to stop the contagion from continuing. It worked in the short term very slightly. Look at the only very slight relief that the Fed was able to do to the U.S. banking sector. And now, almost instantaneously over the past few months, it has started to tick back down to very, very bad levels. So, a lot of people look at this graph and be like, oh, this is bearish. But if you look at, I'll show you Bitcoin's price when this same time frame occurred. This was when the crisis started, and Bitcoin has since more than doubled. We're actually just about doubled. We were right at about 20K at the cavern of this. And it was interesting. March 10th was the banking crisis. March 11th price was at, or March 10th rather, 20,108. So basically, this is something where I don't feel like these banks losing their footing is necessarily a bearish thing for Bitcoin. I think that seeing this type of stuff makes people look for more control of their finance and collapse into me. That's how I feel like it. I've been part of the prepper community for a long time, and I've always, had that idea of bullets, beans, and, other things like that. But then when I saw how much is happening on the internet and the flu season narrative on top of basically cooking your fiat currency into hyperinflationary levels, there is no other option for our modern monetary theory but to look at Bitcoin and the whole ecosystem as crypto as tangible ideas to move into to keep the flow of goods and monetary use going. I just feel it in general. It's happening now. If it takes 10 years to get there, fine. Obviously, these things happening at large take a long time to play out, and the mainstream media is not going to be admitting the graph that I just showed you until the police are already pushing people out of the lobby and barring them from their funds. So just keep this in mind. This is actually, in my opinion, a bullish thing for crypto. We also have the FOMC markets expecting to leave rates unchanged at this point. So, this is the reason why I think this is important is because we have the FOMC coming. A lot of people fear that the Fed's got all these teeth left. But looking at the losses that they already have within the banking sector, it's going to be hard. They're basically pricing in a pause for the time being. And if we keep getting pauses, eventually that even just a pause is going to remain bullish if it becomes the norm. So I keep these things all in mind, but we are looking at CME being added to the future side. It's actually replacing Binance as the biggest Bitcoin futures exchange at this point. But just want to highlight this because it's just becoming more normalized in standard markets to be traded. And this
is foreshadowing that we are going to fill the CME gap at 19.7. It's right there in front of us.
I mean, here it is.
For the end of the year.
There it is. Let's look at the price. So
they're being subtle.
No, I know that CME gap you're talking about is 19.7. So that would be a move all the way back down here. I'll pull this up a little bit down. Basically 19.7. So that would be one hell of a move downward. Mm-hmm. We'll see if we get it, man. I mean, that's why I leave the little bit of dry powder on the sidelines. It's a bigger basket of fiat, but if I see big red wicks like that, then I can take advantage of that and still keep the overall entry points at a low level. I'm more of a seasonal DCA where I only buy on very, very bloody days. So, something about the CME gap is that it's information that's only been accumulated since the end of 2017. And the more we go, the longer we go through, the less of them get filled. So there is that going on. Originally, when it first came out, it was in the 99, then 98% fill rate. It's getting less and less. I believe the last time I checked, it was like a half a year ago, and it was about 85% fill rate when you really break it down individually. But VJ, that would be a good time. I know it's a fearful thought to come back down to 19.9, but that's what we're in here for, man. We're in here for those good entry points.
I know we're talking about it later, but it's like if we're looking for the pseudo black swan, or like I said, how many gray swans does it make to make a black swan? But we'll talk about this soon. But Warren Buffett and Jamie Dimon and everybody's selling all their stock.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I mean, let's go into that right now.
Before we do that,
what's that?
I'm looking over at the computer screen right now with the data. We got over 120 people in the room. Only 40 likes. Hit that like button.
Smash the like.
Engage with the like button.
Smash it.
That's the entry everybody needs to have.
Warren Buffett's an interesting creature.
Well, if you do, so you need to do this in the right order.
Yeah,
the other
start
article
with this.
first.
We got this with J.P. Morgan.
No, not that one. The other. Warren
other
Buffett.
one. This one. Which one are you talking about?
If you go into Slack, it's the most recent.
Oh, okay. Pull me down, Owen.
Yeah.
There might be feet pics.
There's a way of storytelling here.
Well,
it makes it.
Let's see.
hilarious.
Oh, yes. No, that's not it. You got me all twisted up here. I was filming right before this. Are you talking the Amazon or the only reason to sell a stock?
Yes. Only
This
reason.
one. Let's see what we got here.
This is a lot funnier.
Okay.
When we do it this way.
Here is Buffett. This is from 2019, old school stuff.
But it's just more talking about, if you scroll down, it's keep going down.
Yeah.
And a little bit farther.
When to sell.
But the quote there, well, the best thing to do is to buy a stock that you never want to sell. And basically this article is him talking about that he doesn't really like to sell stocks. And he typically doesn't. And the best plan is just to hold.
Yeah.
Now if you go to the next Warren Buffett.
Yep. Boom.
Sells $8 billion worth of stocks.
At a loss. That's interesting. At a loss, though, too.
It's just funny.
HP shares at a loss. Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway continued selling off. HP Inc. shares at a loss this week. Dang, that is kind of weird. Stake below 10% of the printer and computer maker. I used to work for them. I used to work for IBM, or Lexmark, rather. In Boulder, Colorado, they had this gigantic facility I worked at. We worked in bomb-proof doors. Quite an interesting experience. Investors want to follow Buffett's moves. We'll have to wait for the quarterly updates on Berkshire's roughly $350 billion portfolio to learn more. Because the latest HP sales took place in the fourth quarter this year, the next quarterly update that might show their new transactions won't come until February. You are getting their information.
Right before when I predicted the ETF will get approved on February 2nd.
Well, I'm in agreement with you that we probably will have to wait until February for that ETF. The ETF narrative is really kind of crazy to me because in general, I feel like even without an ETF, and just if we continue to, capture the minds and the power of the people that see options outside of their banks with Bitcoin and crypto in general, I feel like we're on track to still hit $5 trillion. I don't like a Bitcoin ETF gets spot approved and they have to buy those spot over the market. Dude,
but
that
they don't. So with that, what was it? The CUSID or whatever. Mm-hmm. So they're allowed to start buying them, I believe now.
Right.
The question is, and I still think they're going to buy it, not on chain, but through markets that helps pump the price, then dump it, and then at the beginning of the year start buying it OTC.
Yeah.
But yeah, once that ETF launches, I've said this multiple times, we're not coming back after that.
Well,
because they have investors that have invested millions of dollars that they have to make them money.
How high do you think our market cap could be with the spot ETF?
What was our last top? 3?
Our $3 trillion was our last top. And if you
think we barely double?
I mean, I think without a spot ETF, we still hit $5 trillion. Okay. That's what I'm thinking.
But my concern about it is it's kind of like you have to take the good with the troubling here, and that is huge on-ramp for potentially trillions of dollars over the course of the next 10, 15 years, right? Billions, if not hundreds of billions pouring in this next cycle. But pension funds, unions, mom and pop retail, especially when you think of like large financial institutions or groups that will be utilizing the ETF, like pension funds. What is going to happen when, let's say, price gets to 100,000? Let's say price gets to 180,000. Are we going to ever see, if we have the ETF approved, which I think we will, are we ever going to see a blow off top again? Because although, yes, pension funds are looking long term, there's going to be people that are a part of that pension fund that might be 98.
Yeah.
They can't stand to have a good portion of, all of a sudden they lose 60%. You know, if we have a similar 60, 70% bear market, is there going to be some calculated money coming off the tables, profit taking going to that? Or will it just be locked long-term held funds? It's 2, 3, 4% allocation of these different funds. How is this going to change the market cycle dynamics once we get past previous all-time high of 70,000? There's nothing to look left to on this, because Bitcoin is not like gold in this event, because gold was around thousands of years and traded for thousands of years before it had a spot ETF. Bitcoin is a new asset that solves problems that we never even knew we would have 50 years ago because of the advent of technology. And now, it's hard to fathom like predictions and what's going to happen in this next market. All I know is that we're at the very beginning of the S adoption curve, which means we're going to have exponential people coming in. So is it even a non-question, because the number of people coming in is going to sort of not invalidate, but make up for those funds coming in and out from potentially pension funds taking profits. And it's just a weird thing to consider.
BJ, did you see that Cardano's coming out with that real world asset exposure? We covered a story this morning we're gonna have to dig more into, but
the answer is no.
It's kind of something that just broke, but kind of riffing off this, like,
catch, if you hold for a second, Catch Them All says, BJ, do you think we'll have another foreclosure crisis? Absolutely. So,
that's kind of ongoing right now.
Well, I was going to very quickly do this. So, everybody who bought a house and forgot about their student loans, which is probably 90% of people who bought houses, are magically going to have to start paying $500 a month that they didn't think about. All the people who bought houses that are overpriced, once those go into negative equity, the loan officers can call on their loan and you can pay the difference, or they can take your house. So there's two fun things.
Right.
Third one, if you look in Florida and California, that insurance prices are up 900%. Oh, wait, when you buy a house, if it's not insured, you're infringing on the deal you made with the mortgage. Oh, and then they can take your house. So yeah, everything's lining up. And if we look at what happened with 2021, that was one of the best times to buy crypto. I think we're doing that again. They're making everybody broke.
Well, there's going to be there.
So instead of win Lambo, now it's going to be win tent.
Yeah.
Win
also,
tent. Oh my God.
Do I think people are going to be able to take advantage of this? The people who have money, yes. Banks are 100% tightening up on lending. If your credit score is probably below like 780 and you don't have a good track record in the last few years, don't expect to get a loan.
Yeah, I mean,
they're locking down on everything.
Well, vast majority of loans held right now are really good rates, but what BJ is talking about, there's a slew of people that are coming into these high interest rates that are getting wrecked. Yeah,
but even if you have that good rate, you bought a house that was massively overvalued, and again, once that falls into negative equity, they can take your house.
Yeah, that was like Seattle, Portland, San Francisco,
everywhere.
Yeah. Then now, just on this note of the homeowners who bought a property in the past year, 46% indicate that they are struggling to manage their monthly mortgage payments due to those higher interest rates. So a large chunk of those who took loans within the last year.
That is somewhat of a lie. It is due to, again, they didn't know that they were going to have to pay student loans, and that all these insurance companies are jacking up their prices.
But Uncle Joe said he was going to solve their student loan problem for them.
But it's happening in Canada too. I was reading a report the other day that 1 in 5, that's 20% of people that have houses are going to basically go into default, or, basically have to have their house taken from them because they're not going to be able to service. They're not going to be able to take care of their mortgages because of the ridiculous inflation rates and taxes that are happening there.
Right.
So there's a lot on the table right now, and I shared a chart with you in the blockchain basement Discord channel.
Oh, okay.
But this is another thing. We're talking about houses, but we forget that the stock market over the last year has been predominantly driven by 7 stocks. Like something like at one point it was like 93% of the gains were from these 7 tech stocks, the Magnificent Seven, and now it's something like 40 or 50%. But the market went up so high with these stocks, it almost like a bubble. That now we had a huge retracement, pullback, and then a retracement back up, and it's a lower high. I don't know if you found it in there.
No, which
Blockchain basement, the channel.
Yeah, but which room within the basement Discord? There's like
not
50
Discord.
rooms.
It's on Slack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You let me know Discord.
But the point is here, we're talking about all this housing stuff, but this is at a time also where we have the stock market is looking like it's pulling back. The question right now is there going to be the true decoupling? And we can't know until after it truly happens. But this is not good. We're getting a double top vibes, bubble top sort of scenario. If it pulled back $500 billion, and you could barely even tell on that $500 billion.
That's a $500 billion.
That's a $500 billion drop. So
Okay.
imagine what that's going to be if retraces all the way back down to the previous low or breaks below that. That's going to be a multi-trillion-dollar drop. This is of the likes of Apple, Google, all the big ones.
One Fred Flintstone car.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, this interests me.
Pressures abound is the point.
I feel like Hannah's generation or younger generation has been fighting this expensive housing situation for a while. If you saw houses get cut in half on their value, do you think a bunch of people within, kind of the I'm 35. Like 25-year-olds, 20-year-olds. Are they going to be trying to get houses?
They
if
won't be
see
able
that
to because
retracement
nobody's
trend?
going to loan them.
Well, hold on. I want to hear from Hannah.
Just tell them.
Yeah. What do you think, Hannah? Is this an opportunity for your generation, or are you guys just not dealing with it?
I feel like it is an opportunity, but in my personal opinion, not very many people are paying attention or like thinking about scooping up properties.
Really?
I mean, I could be wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully there's a lot of people that are out of my
Yeah. They're all just living in vans down by the river.
I don't know. I live in Atlanta, so I'm biased. I don't know.
Based? No, I'm just joking.
Not
Far-
based.
no.
The opposite of based. Everybody is just like renting and they're thinking like short term. Like
Well, the
everybody.
opposite of base is woke, just so you know.
Well, just so you know,
Oh,
also,
my God.
if houses all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, let's say in 6 months or a year and a half or even 3 years, if houses reduce in value by half or actually come back to a more reasonable level, then that also means that there's incredible things going on in the economy for that to happen, which means there's probably going to be a lot of pressures on the economy, and there's not going to be, unless people have dry powder on the side, which we've seen the metrics over the last few weeks. Personal savings are basically basically at financial crisis levels from previous financial crises.
Right.
Credit card default on it's over $1 trillion in credit card debt. There's nobody loaning money. So what's going to drive the prices down? And then who's going to have capital on the sidelines? You know who? BlackRock, hedge funds. It's not going to be the few of you and us. If we can be prepared and weather that storm when it gets to that point, then it will be a good opportunity.
That's the craziest thing about this. We're talking about a decoupling of traditional markets, falling house prices, while crypto continues to go up. This is pretty incredible to watch over the past few months, and it might leave us in an absolutely amazing position if it keeps going this rate. Like if the 4-year cycle keeps holding steady and the macro markets as they are continue to fail, then we're going to have liquidity to purchase these low priced homes when that does actually happen. That's amazing. That's kind of what happened to me in 2020, and it felt absolutely awesome. One of my favorite moves, and I don't think that Bitcoin or crypto is really going anywhere. It's being proven to, be this unstoppable, kind of object in motion. We had Paul Tudor Jones worth $8 billion and Stanley Druckenmiller, who's worth $6 billion, just riffing on why they like Bitcoin. Let's check this out. I haven't heard this one. I'm going to get ready to play. You ready to this, Owen?
finally gold and Bitcoin?
Yeah, I'm 70 years old. I own gold. I was surprised that Bitcoin got going, but it's clear that the young people look at it as a store of value because it's a lot easier to do stuff with. And 17 years, to me, it's a brand. I like gold because it's a 5,000-year-old brand, but the young people have all the money, or certainly the ones on the West Coast do. Mm-hmm. So I like them both.
Okay.
I don't own any Bitcoin, to be frank, but I should.
But my company
I do
does.
own.
That's kind of, I think the most interesting thing about that is he's acknowledging the money that's in Silicon Valley or like the up and coming industries being interested in this. You know what I mean? Like we had, was that Munger, Charlie Munger? He's just very salty about Bitcoin and in general. It was kind of interesting hearing Tudor Jones and Drunken Miller being.
It's easy to be salty about something you don't understand.
Yeah. I mean, well, there's a lot of things that are coming that we don't understand. I don't know if I should go into the AI takeover of our jobs yet. Are we ready for that, BJ?
That article's great.
What did Biden end up saying about AI and crypto?
Oh, it's Biden's basically taking the position that AI competitiveness and data storage and creation competitiveness, along with Bitcoin mining, are a national security concern. That is, kind of the overall what I've gotten out of 2022's executive order and his recent comments. It'll be interesting to see what they do with AI. I think we might as well I'll cover these other stories real quick. Just before, and this is just a quick reminder, just in general on where we are, without any of the amazing connection to the elephant that is traditional finance. We got to think about it. We're a small market cap in comparison to the rest of the markets at large, and we have capital markets coming on chain with DTCC and Chainlink. There's over $100 trillion in U.S. assets that are poised for blockchain in real-world asset fashion. These companies are basically working with Web3 companies, Chainlink being one of them, and it looks like Cardano. We're going to dig into the real-world asset stuff for Cardano coming because it is there, BJ. They're angling that way. To basically integrate this blockchain tech with existing systems and, just expand this stuff out. We're very, very early. We're experiencing all of this movement off of very little actual use and connection. That the reason why I'm so huge on Chainlink is because they have actual outward use and partnership with the largest financial system on the planet, which is Swift. So it's hard for me to look beyond that into other projects and be like, yeah, they're equal. But I know that a lot of projects like Cosmos and Avalanche, they're pining to be noticed layer ones in the next bull market. And I do think the sun will shine on these different projects at different times. And they will all have their moment in the sun. It's just a matter of, how far down the line these institutions go. I do keep in mind that they probably see the overall corrections in Bitcoin over the last few cycles, and we'll keep that in mind. Probably going to be somewhere between like a 1 to 5% allocation if we see widespread openness for spot ETFs. But that's a whole lot of money. That would absolutely change the game on diminishing returns, in my opinion. I don't know. I mean, what do you think, Kelly? Do you think the diminishing returns thing will stop if we get that spot ETF?
I think we're in store. This goes back to that conversation we were having earlier about who knows what the future holds because of how big players tend to move in markets. I think we do have one super cycle. Mm-hmm. I think this next cycle is going to be a larger growth than we saw in the previous cycle. I think the previous cycle is a little truncated with the Chinese mining ban.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, in combination with the Bitcoin spot ETFs, if and when, which I'm very confident they will get approved, I think we're going to see that if anybody knows what an S curve of adoption looks like, essentially it's like we've been like right here, and then once you get past the 9 to 10% threshold is when you get a parabolic uptrend in adoption. You see it a lot. We've seen it consistently over the last 15 years with and faster with each different instance with
right.
Tech. developments and tech companies and et cetera. And so I do think we're going to get a super cycle. I think after that, because there's going to be such big money in, there's going to be a shrinking of volatility indefinitely after that.
Yeah. I'm kind of getting those vibes too, man. I don't know. We got the connection for methane flaring in Bitcoin mining. We have the Bitcoin spot ETF stuff. We have the real world asset narrative rolling out from Swift right in front of everyone.
We have X that's trying to transition to be payments.
Yes.
And if they're not, I can't imagine they're not going to have a full integration with digital assets, which is only going to absolutely push this.
How long? I saw the news, and obviously, like, oh my God, it's Elon Musk. I want to make, well, let's look at this. I just felt like we had talked about it, but it's just more licensure that he's gotten in more states. He's getting closer to his goal of opening a WeChat type system. I don't know. Like, they asked me this morning, how likely is it that Elon Musk gets done with the WeChat build out? And I'm not calling it WeChat. It's what he's trying to compete with. It's an X app to compete with WeChat, but he's trying to get it done in 13 months from now. I kind of feel like he's going to try to slap something together within that time. I said like 75% sure that he'll have at least something to show us within 13 months. Is that being too hopeful? Like, what do you guys think? BJ, am I being crazy when I think that?
I mean, I think what you're not asking is there something he can just buy?
Yeah.
So
he's working with eToro to help.
So when you're looking at potentially being like, can he get a bunch of devs together and build something from the ground up in 13 to 18 months, feasibly? Is it a lot easier to grab something like eToro or buy something else? That seems more likely. So.
Oh, this is a good question. Catch 'em all, X or Facebook? Who will integrate crypto first? I would have to say X.
Well, technically Facebook did, and then the government stopped them.
They got slapped around. What do you think, Hannah? Who's first?
Stopped Meta?
Yeah, the government did.
Yeah, what was it?
Diem?
Yep.
So technically they already have the infrastructure, do they not?
They do, but they weren't able to move forward with it. And the devs split up into Aptos and Sui. So
they left Meta and went to different companies.
Right.
Interesting. Because I remember when Instagram integrated NFTs and it was just not a lot of news around it. Nobody cared. And then they, like a month later, they
stopped.
Yeah, they just took them out. And I was like, that's what happens when you
terrible
rush
timing.
things. Yeah.
Wasn't that terrible timing?
It was bad timing. It was because NFTs were trending and Twitter made NFTs. They integrated NFT profile pictures. And I think Meta was just like, oh my God, like we need to integrate these things because everybody's talking about NFTs. So they announced that they were. And then like a month later, they said, never mind, we're getting rid of that. I didn't realize that it was the government getting involved though to like stop Meta.
Yeah.
I think that's interesting because what was, it was Zuckerberg and Friedman, where they did the interview in the metaverse or whatever. They had like their metaverse characters.
Yes. The recent
That's
one.
interesting. Like I could see Zuckerberg having all of this like behind the scenes planned out at this point. I think the Instagram, that was rushed. They should have never announced that publicly. They should have just like taken their time and like built a strategy before actually making that public. But I don't know. I think I would say X is definitely going to go first. It makes more sense and they should. Like I think Elon should do that first because that's where all of the crypto people are. But Meta's probably just going to follow in their footsteps. Like,
well, Meta's been more about like the metaverse and like the in-person, the glasses and stuff like that. Like Elon Musk already partnered up with eToro earlier this year to roll this thing out. It's already been in process for some time. That's why I'm giving it a good chance that it's going to roll out soon. Interesting time frame when Zuckerberg got slapped around by Congress. It was right during flu season. They were printing us to the moon. They didn't want competition for the U.S. currency being printed. That's kind of the just baseline for why Congress pushed back against it. Kind of an old school talking point for the Fed Reserve. But then they've opened up, and now they're open to Elon Musk rolling this out. He has a Doge symbol next to his account, and now they might be okay with it. It's a very interesting situation to watch, but the government obviously been paying attention more to AI. AI might be a great stock pick, coming up. I think AI is going to be a huge talking point for a few years to come.
Buy whatever company Amazon just bought 750,000 robots from.
Oh, yes. Is this, and that is the, where is this?
The article I put up. Just to put that in perspective, Amazon has 1.5 million employees. So the fact that they just bought half of that in robots is relevant.
See here. Amazon announces 2 new ways it's using robots to assist employees and deliver customers. Oh man, this is going to get weird. So it looks like latest robotic arms like Sparrow, Cardinal are being added to their first autonomous mobile robot system, Proteus. Yeah, they're excited to set the impact of technology that is having in Amazon's operations. We have now over God, that happened quick, PJ. Almost 1 million robots working collaboratively with our employees. Like all of a sudden you have half your
The
workforce.
editor missed
Literally.
that they wanted to put the quotation marks around collaboratively.
Yeah, they're just getting attacked by robots in the lunchroom. This is sick. This is kind of crazy. By reimagining how we store and manage inventory at our sites, Sequoia will help us delight customers with greater speed, increased accuracy for delivery estimates. These are, I think, this has to have a picture of it, right? Because it's the standing robot. Here it is. Here is this guy. This is straight out of iRobot, man. I mean, pretty close. You think you could take him in a barroom brawl, BJ? Negative?
I understand how actuators work.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I mean, this is coming. What really clicked in my mind during flu season, why to move into crypto and then biotech and AI, and why I'm excited about having an opportunity to be ahead of this and kind of have the mind's eye that this is going to be the thing that stays around, is because we saw so many people deemed non-essential, right? So you have the non-essential conversation, and then a few years later, half the workforce is robots. That's a pretty intense experience for a human. Kind of an awkward feeling, but the AI narrative going on with companies like Amazon, I mean, as this continues to take hold and be talked about, you're going to have interest in AI crypto just as a fallout, just a fallout effect, a ripple down effect of that. So keep that in mind. I know AI had a pretty fast and heavy move earlier this year from its narrative being rolled out. I think it only lasted AI season was 3 months, but I do intend to see it come back. Amazon just absolutely automating everyone. Look at this poor savage. Look at this. Just unbelievable. Just being stared at by a robot. I would be so uncomfortable if this was going on behind me. I don't know. I just, when the mapping car for Google was driving around in my hometown, I thought that it was, the Terminator system just mapping out its future hunting grounds. So I've always felt awkward about AI. I did used to work at IBM Lexmark, actually, and the just to give you a context of how working and money has changed over the last 20 or 30 years. When Lexmark and IBM started with their production of printers, it was a 700-person operation. You had, probably around 50 people assigned to each jet mill. As just basic automation systems got rolled out, that workforce was tailored down to, one person running that jet mill system. And you could operate the entire facility with 7 to 10 operators. So a massive, massive change that I've seen. Fathers of chemical engineering and mechanical engineering. I spent some time in mechanical engineering, and I've seen how this system is being developed. And you have to think ahead of the change to stay relevant and useful and effective in the workforce, because things are changing pretty quickly. And that's where the excitement of seeing, opportunities like crypto play heavy into my mind, because I don't intend to be outdone by a robot. I want to own the assets and systems that these types of AI systems are going to be operating on. Ben Goertzel is the reason. I mean, on top of it being on Cardano, but Ben Goertzel, is that how you say his name? Ben Goertzel. He's the reason why I feel good about it.
Zaddy.
Zaddy? You call him Zaddy?
I don't.
That guy is a trip. But he has been in AI for a while, and he's very well respected. He gave us a kind of an insight into Ajax a while ago, when obviously there was a lot of hype. We had to look at it. We had to see what's going on with it. And in essence, I think that he's going to be an integral part of AI development. That's why I feel like Goertzel being behind. God, I'm probably tearing that name up. I tear up so many names. I just read a script and that I wrote, and I could not remember I could not pronounce the names. I'm terrible at pronouncing names. It's just absolutely awful. So sorry if I mispronounce your names in the chat there. Now we have the Department of Defense allocating $1.5 million for virtual reality TBI assessments. Traumatic brain injury, prevalent concern among military personnel, especially in today's small team, far-flung combat scenarios. TBI assessments require heavily trained professionals, which is impractical for remote and combat situations. Just talking about the importance of virtual reality to be used in this system, real-time analysis of cognitive evaluation is the machine learning algorithms are analyzing the data in real time and allowing for assessments of these neurophysiological performances. VR technology facilitates the evaluation of ecologically valid military scenarios, predicting real-world behaviors that are challenging.
Real-time analysis and cognitive evaluation. Why aren't they testing it with Biden?
Dude, oh my God. We would be out of business if they tested it on Biden.
No, just that the product worked.
Oh, God. The project has potential to revolutionize cognitive assessment capabilities in remote locations. And really the reason why I wanted to just highlight this is because this has been what I've been saying is the strongest use case is like medical training, even remote medical procedures, using robots to actuate that actual movement. But then we have the military, and I think it was Patrick Lutke, I think is his name, that developed what we know as metaverse right now, or the little glasses. Those are actually for the military long time ago, actually probably around over a decade at this point. So, you know, what we're seeing in the fun side of the metaverse is just the scraps of the military industrial complex. They have a large input on the development of drone control through this. It's going to continue to advance. I am hopeful to get a mech warrior someday soon. Do you think I'll be able to have that?
So sick.
Is a mech
as long
warrior?
As you can paint it like Diva.
Paint a Diva? I would be here for a mech warrior. I would absolutely rock one. Then we have some other stuff. Just, you know, I want to cover, where is this one? So we got the FOMC. This is interesting. Bitcoin hitting this golden cross. This would absolutely crush bears. Like, God, Kelly, there's a golden cross happening. Things are on the up and up. What is going on here, man? Is it going to give up? This can't keep going up forever, man. What is going on here? We got still 1 month. It's hitting a golden cross on this level. That would leave so many people in the dust. This would be up only is max pain if that crossed. And it's
max pain, but it's also out of context for how markets work.
Yeah.
Like, price action tends to come back to a previous range high, so it makes sense. It makes sense for at some point, even if we go up from here. I don't want to say that I'm not worried that it's not going to come back down, but I think there's a very small. It'd be a very small possibility that if we push up further from here, that we don't test the $32,000 to $33,000 region at some point. Okay. Whether it be very soon or before the halving. But I do think that that's going to happen.
It's just very interesting to watch, man. And, you know, across the pond in Thailand, the second largest bank in the country has acquired a local crypto exchange. We're going to be looking at more news from Asia because, you know, we see that.
Have they been discussing CBDCs a lot?
They have. Okay. I know that they have.
I mean, that seems to line up if you have a central bank that is then also grabbing an exchange.
Absolutely.
Seems feasible.
They want to interchange.
Doesn't mean that's what they're doing, but...
They're probably laying it out.
What's a CBDC?
A central bank digital currency.
God. Everyone in here knows what a central bank digital currency is. If you don't, it's basically the thing that'll try to starve Drew 5 years from now for yelling truths at you day in and day out. And they'll find me because of algorithmic robots and surround me. So
listen, CBDCs are coming. It's just how can you prepare between now and then? How can you make sure that you're diversified and allocated?
Bitcoin sovereignty.
Yeah, exactly.
Cold wallets. That's all I got. I'm sorry to make you sad. That's the reality of our situation, Hannah. You know,
it's a pretty simple solution.
It's a pretty simple solution. But you know what? We can always bring tar and feathering back. We can always reignite the values that built this country. If you might remember, in 1775.
Oh my God.
They're there. It's there. So
you have like a revolutionary era kink.
I do. I really do.
I'm going to awkwardly think about your bedroom life, but I can imagine you put on like the white wig with like the powder.
With the little frills.
Yes. Yeah. And you'd be like, yes, it's time to make number 5.
Come to thee.
Let me colonize your bosom, woman.
All right.
That's the show. Sorry. We're done.
All right. Well, listen, safety committees. Go look up what a safety committee is. It's
Safety committee is what we need so I don't talk.
No. We need you talking. And even as chaotic as your conspiracy theories are, mine are just as chaotic. And I'm here for it. If we do fill a 19K CME gap, I have money on the sidelines. And, everyone that kind of doesn't like what BJ says and they just want to agree with me and my upward bias, that's where we kind of get left in the dust. Is if you don't have a backup plan, if things do go south and you're not able to buy that big red candle, that's where the pain is, man. So it being positioned already, like BJ has been stacking Cardano all the way through this.
Regardless.
I know. And so that's an important thing to note. You're continually moving through it. You're watching for good, comebacks on the entry points. But, you said it yourself. You're not ready for a 30-cent Cardano. My God. No. It's too soon. These prices are too damn high.
It's too soon.
Too soon.
Prices are too damn high. Remember that guy?
Yeah, man. Well, who was that from? Who's that from?
There was a guy that ran for mayor of New York, and he's like, the rent is too damn high.
That's where that is.
It was a whole thing, yeah.
Yes.
Well, in Georgia, it gets used a lot. Be like, this pollen count is too damn high. That might be my favorite one when it gets used. He's like,
Zach Nasty said it best. Only took six drunk guys in a bar to destroy an entire corrupt country. I like those guys. And the thing about flu season is it took away our mingling, right? We weren't able to mingle in person. We were not able to discuss these things in person. They took that conversation away. They shut down churches. What they did not shut down is liquor stores, though, so you could still get your fix and go home alone and drink your sorrows away. But they took away in-person dialect and much of the online dialect. That's why it's super important for you watching at home. If you have the wild hair, if you want people to know about what's coming for the markets and this max pain that is going to be felt by people that don't know about crypto and that just get slayed by the inflation rates as they continue to crush your buying power over the next 10 years, please share this message with them because the time is kind of running out to do so.
Chad said that guy looked like the Lorax.
Oh my
Very
God.
correct.
Oh God.
That was good.
Poor Lorax. I love Dr. Seuss books, man. They were very based. So we also have Binance accounts suspending people in Israel, just telling them to contact the Israeli police. This is more reasons why you buy the crypto on the exchange and you leave with your crypto off of the exchange. Please do not leave the power of your financial future into the hands of a few centralized players, no matter how much you like them. Powers that be are pulling levers and strings right now. I'm not going to get too far into the woods on all of the military movements that have happened over the last weekend, but it's been a constant flow of American troops into Israel. It's not looking pretty. It's not going away anytime soon. They're positioned. So you will see an on-the-ground move in Gaza. Things are going to get worse. They're going to continue to pump the markets and to print their way out of this and into this next conflict, which has already started up. It's happening in real time. And if you ignore it and act like it's not really a thing, you're going to get dusted. So please keep in mind the situation that we're in right now. It is very serious. We are running out of time as far as hyper-aggressive upward movement on our entry points right now. We probably have about 6 months. The halving is in April 2024. So I'm looking at, we're just about starting November. So November, December, January, February, March.
I mean, probably all my big buys are more than likely going to be done by like mid-January.
Are they? Okay. And Kelly, do you have a time frame on? So you held off on the markets just for a bit. You're waiting for good entry points. Like, what's your time frame? What's your time frame you're following?
Well, I sold the majority of my alts in August 4th. And
right.
The market, everybody thought I was crazy on that day. They're like, "Oh, I'm going to buy your bags, you idiot." And then what happened over the course of August until beginning of October, the market was basically just pulling back.
Yeah.
And so. I also was kind of taking an honest look at a lot of the things I talk about on air every day on what do you call it? BitLab Academy. So I wanted to just make sure I was staying true to that. And I used some of the profits to take care of things that were happening in my life. I just moved to Georgia. I just needed to buy a new car. I was driving my cousin's car while he was in Bali and he came back and sold it. So
yeah.
I put, money towards that, towards the move. And now I'm going aggressive as I can go to be scaling in, and I'm going to be scaling in, broadly across Bitcoin, and then my portfolio of different altcoins that I want to set up for this next bull market. I'm going to rebuild. Essentially, I have a long-term portfolio, but in terms of my trading portfolio, I'm rebuilding from scratch. So if you'd like to join me with that, come check out the BitLab Academy daily stream, youtube.com/@BitLab Academy, and join us in the Discord on BitLab, because I'm doing daily streams on there now as well. So we're going to rebuild this together and be prepared for this bull.
Yes.
And, Wilma, finger do mid-January, because I think the ETF is coming early February. If you're trying to stay out of capital gains, what does everyone say? Probably you need to be done by buying by like May-ish. April, May, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Assuming you think the top is going to be in around April, May of 25, unless you're one of those people that thinks it's going to be as far as like October 25.
I
It's
am.
only
which is
one
possible.
year.
I think
Which
it'll
is
be
1 year,
beginning
BJ?
of Q3 25.
Yeah.
What was that, Hannah?
Capital gains is
It's 1
1
year.
year.
Yes. Yeah, for long term, it has to be over a year. Short term is under a year.
And what's the
40%.
difference? If you
40% versus 25.
Well, it depends on what your income bracket is.
Yeah.
But
You're more than likely, if your capital gains, you're looking at 40%. So
okay.
Definitely got to keep it in mind, man. And
that's why I don't understand short-term trading.
Kelly, are you still bullish on the graph? Do
yeah,
you think the graph is still a good one?
yeah, I think the graph's going to be great going in the next
It's had an
cycle.
interesting year, like really pumped. It really pumped right as that AI narrative was busting. This is what I was talking about earlier in the show. It looks like it's trying to make a resurgence. I've always liked this one just because it's low-hanging fruit for newbies and AI tokens. Not necessarily like ultra bullish on its tokenomics or anything. It's just easily accessible on Coinbase. It's an AI coin that's well known. This might be an interesting move. 11 cents right now. Previous all-time high at $2 and about 80 cents. Maybe $2.50. So I'm going to have to look at this one. But first, I'm going to be building out Ajax. And really, I'm excited, man. Things have been really, really awesome for my purchases. ICPs went great. Chainlink has went great. So now I'm looking to build out a nice bag of Avalanche and move more into Cosmos and Cardano's. I think LenFi out of the Cardano ecosystem. I'm still thinking of Milk, but LenFi has been
We got
sticking
a thick
out.
stack of both.
You do?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I gotta fade you.
I'm just grabbing Cardano and alts on
Yeah.
Cardano.
I like the Cardano ecosystem, and everything's there for them to be looked at as a serious L1, and it will have a time to shine. We've seen it before. You just have to be patient enough to get there.
Oh no, Cardano's missing a big thing that one of the other big layer ones has.
Oh God, here.
Non-deterministic gas fees. If you're into those, you won't like Cardano.
So you need to accept the fact that you'll know how much your gas fee is going to be coming instead of just getting hosed.
No, this is the classic, and then I'll shut up for like 30 seconds about this. So, Kelly, let's say I'm trying to sell you a car. What's something you think about when buying a car, especially with gas prices?
Like
the miles per gallon.
miles per gallon, yeah. And then
So if I'm trying to sell you a
maintenance
car
fees.
and you ask what the MPG is, I go, oh, it gets 200 MPG. You get excited. You go to sign the paperwork, and I'm like, actually, it gets 4 miles per gallon.
Today
And
it's
you're like,
4
but
miles.
you just said it was 200. Well, actually, it's 1,000. Wait, so it gets 1,000 miles per gallon? Fuck yeah, let me sign here.
Yeah.
No, it's only 2 miles per gallon.
And that's a good
Would
thing
you
to think
buy
about.
that car?
That's a good thing to think
No,
about.
that's Ethereum. That's literally Ethereum. You
The-
cannot tell me what it's going to cost for my transaction. And also, you're still going to charge me even when it fails.
Yeah, and the gas
Fundamental
fees,
flaw.
like if you're building from a small portfolio and you get in on like some degenerate play with $50 and it goes up to 200 at the peak of the markets, that gas is going to cost you 300 at the time. Like I know a lot of people that have great degen plays locked away in wallets because they weren't able to sell at the time because the gas fee was too hard. So if you are coming in, and you're taking degen plays, I'd be looking more at. I want to look at the meme token realm that's coming out on base more and more because that's coming. But Ethereum gas fees are absolutely horrible sometimes, and when they're horrible is when things are good and you want to sell. So it's kind of like, ouch. So we'll see if that gets solved. I know that I own a little bit of Ethereum, but in general, my mind and my heart is very well open for other layer ones and layer twos for Ethereum getting great moments in the spotlight in the next bull market. So that's kind of where my mind is at. Ethereum layer twos, building out a good further basket of aggressive layer ones, and the time is running short. So make sure that you're letting us know in the comments whatever project you're looking at that you want to deeper dive into. Let me know below in the comments down below. And I think we're going to go set up ATB. But it's been an absolutely great day. It's a great day to be in crypto right now.
Don't you say? Don't you know?
Don't you know? It's been
Day to be alive.
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Even though I broke my whole body and my leg is profusely bruised and my other knee is profusely bruised, I feel fantastic. So appreciate you guys joining us today. DOD Slave, Wilma Fingerdo. Wow, that is a name.
No, it's pronounced Wilma Fingerdo.
What that finger do?
Johnny December. Much love from the Caribbean. You guys are awesome. Sack Nasty. We will be seeing you tomorrow. God, going to be an interesting night watching price action. Hopefully we squeeze right on up to that 35 spot and start knocking at the door of this resistance. But until next time, we will see you soon, and go touch some grass.
До свидания.